Hello everyone, I'm Jeffrey. Welcome back to another PCT Q&A. Let's dive right in. Okay, so I put a question in my Instagram stories asking my audience to ask questions about the PCT that they wanted answered. What are you dying to know? And I got some really good ones. So welcome to part 2. Let's dive right in. Well, first and foremost, I thru-hiked the Pacific Crest Trail in 2024, and I'm answering these questions based off my experience, what I learned, if anything. I don't know. Okay, question 1. What did you miss the most, and why was it Barb? Barb is my dog. We have 2 dogs. We have a Leroy, our geriatric mutt, and then we have Barb. She's a yellow lab. What did you miss the most, and why was it Barb? So I did miss Barb. What did I miss the most? I think, my spouse and I started long distance. We met on a dating app. We didn't live anywhere nearby. So we're used to being apart. I also travel a lot for work. So we're used to being apart. That being said, we're not used to being apart for that long. And that was probably the hardest. Being away from the dogs was hard. But I mean, on a more superficial level, like I missed my house. I missed my bed. I missed my bidet. I missed being able to go to the grocery store. I missed toilets. I missed so many things. It really shows you how nice those luxuries are, which we don't think of them as luxuries. We think of them as the bare minimum. Having a toilet that flushes is not a lot to ask, right? Well, it depends. And it really made me appreciate all that stuff. So at the top of the list, I missed my spouse, then my dogs. But a very close third were all the conveniences of life that you don't have when you're living in the woods.
Hello! Hey, if you are sitting there thinking, oh, I want to travel more, I want to go on more adventures, come with me. I host trips around the world. We've been hiking in Patagonia, we went looking for the Northern Lights in Iceland, trekking in Nepal, camping in Banff, Canada, in the Canadian Rockies. We do it all, and we have a real good time. Everyone's welcome, and all the details for any current trips, just click that little bubble up in the top corner, or go to my website, jjb.life/travel. And we almost always make at least one group cringy TikTok. So come hang out with us. We're a real good time.
Okay, next question. Is it torture in the fun way or the not so fun way? Both. For sure, the answer is both. I did a little bit of ultra running, and this was fun in that way, in that, hey, I'm pushing myself really hard to do something that's super difficult, and it's temporary, so it's worth it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pound it out, and I'm going to be able to say that I did it. And for all the reasons, I'm glad that I did it. But on the other hand, it's also rough in the not so fun way, in the mental longevity. Like, this is not, an ultra marathon. You might get to a dark spot, but it's like, hey, I just have to do this for 9 more hours and then I'm done. It's completely different ball game when it's really, really, really hard and you really want to quit. But the response is, hey, you only have to do this for 4 more months. Like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And it's hard. It's hard mentally. This is hard physically. This is absolutely hard physically. Unquestionably. But equally as unquestionably, I think it is harder mentally. It is really hard mentally. The stat is like, I think like 30%, 40%, maybe less than 30%, somewhere in there. That's how many people finish the PCT. And there's a yearly survey of everyone who's done the PCT, and it's really informative. If you're thinking about doing the PCT, I highly recommend you Google that. I don't know. It's just a dude who does it, but it's a really decently high quality survey for how casual it is. But it gives you a lot of really good information into, hey, the year before, what gear were people using? How long did they take? How many zeros were they taking? All this data. If you're a data person like me, you're going to love it. But the finish rate is really low. And it's not, I'm just concluding this on my own. I don't have empirical evidence. But from the survey results, it seems, and from my experience this year, it seems like most people are not quitting because it's physically too difficult. People definitely get injured. That's something we'll talk about. You will get injured probably. You will probably have to spend a week off trail because you got injured of some sort. Something to be prepared for, no matter how fit or perfect you think you are. It is something to be prepared for. There's no rhyme or reason to who it happens to. And for some reason, the people who are least prepared for it are the ones who are afflicted the most. But I had to spend almost 2 weeks off trail because of back injury. So anyway, how did I get on that? What were we talking about? I don't know. Oh, ADHD, how I love you. You robbed me of my thoughts. I don't know what I was saying. What was the question? Is it torture in the fun way or the not so fun way? I don't know. Both is the answer. It was hard. It's hard physically and mentally. It's worth it for some people, but it's really hard. Okay. I need to know about the portable bidet. How did it work out? So the portable bidet. So I have a Kulo Clean. It's a little bidet attachment that attaches to any water bottle, and it gives you a little bidet. So I love it. I've used it a lot on short trips, and it's amazing on short trips. It's a bidet. I mean, you're so much more clean, and there's no waste to pack out. So that's great. The problem that I didn't anticipate on the PCT was that water is sometimes a really hot commodity. And by sometimes, I mean most of the time, it's a hot commodity. And so I did not end up using the bidet as much as I thought I would, simply because I couldn't afford the water. I couldn't afford to waste a liter of water or however much water it would take to clean my cute little butthole. So the portable bidet is amazing for like week-long trips, trips where you have plenty of water. Absolutely. Highly recommend. On a through hike on the West Coast, where it's mostly either desert or high desert, and water is a hot commodity, it just wasn't as practical. But big fan, highly recommend in most scenarios. It's ace. I just didn't use it as much on this journey as I would have expected. But if it's made by a company called Kulo Clean, C-U-L-O. I think Kulo means butt in Spanish. Is that right? And I got it from Garage Grown Gear. If you don't know Garage Gun Gear, the links are in my gear list. Garage Gun Gear is like the ultralight backpacking place. They have all the things, all the newest things, all the toys. Cannot recommend it enough. A lot of the bigger outdoor retailers, I won't name names, but they're meant more for like weekend backpackers or casual backpackers or outdoor enthusiasts. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they just don't carry a lot of the specialized ultralight stuff that you want for a through hike. Not that you need to through hike ultralight, but they have a lot of like fun little gadgets. So Garage Grown Gear. Okay, last question. How much should one train before attempting a through hike? Well, that's a hard question to answer because the answer is anything. A lot of people don't train at all. I didn't specifically train at all. I would highly suggest, if you don't come from an active background, if you're not already a runner or an experienced hiker or an athlete of some other regard, I would highly suggest working up your hiking ability. I mean, if you could work up to like 8, 10, 15 miles a day beforehand, gosh, that would be amazing. I did not train at all. That being said, I run consistently. I am an ultra runner. Like I don't run a ton. It's not like I'm constantly in intense training, and I super was not training before the PCT. But I do come from like a generally moderate level of fitness. So if you are literally coming from the sofa, if you have never moved athletically a day in your life, or at least not recently, I would suggest moving beforehand. But really, as much as just walking is enough. But most people, it seems, don't train. I didn't train. The trail kind of provides for you to slowly build up. In the beginning, I was maybe hiking like 8 to 13, 14, 15 miles a day. And 2 months later, I was hiking 25, 28, 29 mile days. You're naturally going to train on the trail. It's a fine line. I wouldn't suggest starting with no training. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. If you have not trained and you're like, oh, should this keep me from doing this? No, you should definitely still do it. That being said, in an ideal scenario, you are trained, or at least you have been moving in some capacity. It's near impossible to replicate the circumstances on the trail. I mean, who in their regular life can spend 10 to 12 hours a day hiking for a week to train? There's no way you can truly replicate it, but I would say moving in general as much as possible beforehand would be great. So is that enough of a non-answer? Training some is ideal. You don't have to rake yourself over the coals training. You can do the PCT with zero training at all. That being said, I think being moderately prepared and trained, at least, is ideal. Okay, that was it for this edition of PCT Q&A. Check back for the next. I'll see you soon. Bye. Like, subscribe, comment, all those things.
Want to watch another video? Click here. Want to learn more about my upcoming trips? Click here. Want to subscribe and like all my videos and turn those bell notifications